Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BrendenPlayz, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about General Manager Mode in WWE 2k16, 2k17, well, in the WWE 2k series from now and beyond. So, a lot of people have asked me, can General Manager Mode work in WWE 2k games at this current point in time? Obviously, we've seen General Manager Mode. The last time we saw it was in 2008, SmackDown vs. Raw. And the whole concept was SmackDown versus Raw. The two brands, you go after each other, and then they even spliced in ECW in 1 year in 2008. So you had competition. You had three brands, you had two brands battling each other for the ratings war. Who's the better brand? Who can be the best brand between these two brands? You know, you have a certain roster, you fight over that roster, you know how it works. So now that in this current day and age of WWE, we know SmackDown isn't a brand. We know there is no brand split. We know there's only one brand. That's Raw. You know, it's the WWE. There's just one brand. So that whole competition aspect of GM mode has been taken away. So my question is, can General Manager Mode work? And I think I have a concept or an idea, at least in my head, that makes sense, and I feel as though this could work. So it is kind of similar to Universe Mode, but it's kind of Universe Mode kicked into a whole new level. So we'll talk about this in a second. So my concept. What I would do is I would have you start with NXT. You are the general manager of NXT. So therefore you are in control of this NXT roster, whether it's 15, 20 people, however many people are in the game from NXT. You have this roster. And the whole idea of General Manager Mode is to complete tasks. You get weekly, daily, monthly, yearly, 6 monthly, 3 monthly, all these challenges and tasks you have to do constantly in General Manager Mode. So it's not just about ratings. It's not just about having the best star rating. It's about, you know, you can have, we'll talk about the objectives specifically, but you have all these objectives and tasks you have to do. And you earn points. Whether it's VC or whatever points we've seen in the past from the NBA games, things like that, you earn points, GM points, we'll call it that. So you earn these GM points, and with these points, you use these points to buy abilities, new storylines, new attires, new wrestlers. You get new perks and upgrades, and something that probably I would love to see, and I would love this aspect. I don't know if any of you guys have played EWR, but this is an aspect that I think we should be going down. If we're going to go down the route of GM mode, we should be thinking about TV deals. So you have to deal with your TV networks. You have to make your TV networks happy. You have to try and get the best possible ratings. So with these points, you can buy better TV deals to get better ratings and, you know, more money and whatever for your show, more success. And so once you gain enough points, my GM points, you can move on to running superstars. So that's the next step from NXT. So you get promoted from NXT, and you no longer run NXT. You're done. You're finished with NXT. That becomes its own generated and simulated brand. And we'll talk about that more in a moment, why that is. But then you move on. But once you've promoted from superstars, you go to main event, you go to SmackDown, you go to Raw, and eventually you have control of the pay-per-views and full control of the WWE. So you have to keep earning enough points, achieving enough, and doing enough, and completing enough goals and objectives over time to the point where you're entrusted in running more and more and more of the show. So you don't just start off with the ability to run everything. You have to earn your way there. You have to prove and show that you're good enough to run these shows, because you are a rookie. You know, you're a no-name GM. Why would Vince McMahon put you in charge of the whole WWE if you don't have the credentials? So by slowly building your resume up, you gain the right to do that. So the purpose would be of GM mode, you get given a brand. So you have to run and build the best possible brand. You try and create as much revenue as you can and build the best possible quality shows that you can do. Once you achieve that, you are given more power and opportunities, like I said, and eventually you gain enough credibility to have full control of the WWE, and you become the ultimate general manager. So that would be kind of the quick synopsis of how I would describe this GM mode. And there's a lot of objectives that you can try and accomplish, and that you would have to do. And these are some of the examples of what I would say I would personally put as objectives. So get a talent, get a wrestler over a certain popularity level. So let's say you are Triple H is your boss, so he sends you a message, sends you an email and says, I want Bo Dallas to become 65 popularity. Currently his popularity is 43. I want you to get his popularity up to 65. You've got 6 months to do it. That's an example of a objective. Now that's probably one of the harder ones, but that would be an example. Another one could be achieve a certain weekly or monthly TV rating. So USA Network emails you and says, look, we want you to get a 3.0 rating every single week. We want you to average 3.0 every single week this month. So, and if you achieve these goals, you earn 300 MyGM points, something like that. And some other ones can include have a 3.5 star match show, a 3.5 star rated match on the show. Call up an NXT Diva or Superstar. Now, why I say call them up is because how I would do it is I would have this NXT roster, and I would have, you'd have to cost a certain amount of points to buy these superstars and divas to bring up to the show. So you'd have brackets. So you'd have 20 popularity, could cost 2,000 points to promote someone. 40 popularity, 5,000 points. 60 popularity, 10,000 points. 80 popularity, 15,000. And any popularity, 20,000 points, for example. So if you want the best superstars in NXT, the most popular superstars in NXT, you have to pay top dollar of your own MyGM points, plus you have to sign them to a contract from your allocated budget. So calling up an NXT Diva or Superstar isn't going to be easy. You know, you have to fork out the cash, fork out the points, and it can also be an objective. Another one could be have a 4-star rated show, achieve a monthly profit of whatever, have a 12-week rivalry, and sell X amount of merchandise. So you'd also incorporate merchandise into the game. You would make sure that you can have different t-shirts, you know, you name it. You know all the merchandise WWE has. So you'd have a big collection of merchandise for every wrestler. So everyone that has merchandise, you'd give them their merchandise, and they have to achieve a certain popularity before you can unlock selling their merchandise. So you'd have to build wrestlers up, and you'd have to keep their popularity going, and by doing that, you'll be able to sell more merchandise. So as a GM, you'd have the ability to book matches, you'd have the ability to choose your storylines, create the rivalries, and you just really have the ability, like you do in Universe Mode, to create whatever you want there. So that Universe Mode aspect is there, where you create all the shows, you book all the shows, and it can be simulated if you want. It doesn't have to be just you. You can say, look, I don't want to book this show this week, I can simulate it. But if you get to the point where you have full control of the WWE, and you're not up to standard, if you're not creating the best possible shows, then you can be relegated. So let's say, for example, you have full control. You've unlocked everything, you've done the hard yards. If you don't, let's say you have 3 months, so you get a warning. Your first warning looks, your ratings are down, that's your first warning. If you go 3 months in a row whilst the ratings are down, you lose control of Raw, and you have to go back on SmackDown and achieve good things there and get enough points to get back on Raw. So you have to consistently create a good product. And that will be the challenge of GMO. And it'll be much, much harder to do that once you're at that pay-per-view and Raw level. And obviously much easier when you're at the Superstars and the main event level. So that will be the challenge of it. You have to consistently create a great show. Otherwise, you lose the rights. You lose the opportunity to be able to book on that show. Now, I spoke a bit about the points in the game, the MyGMO points. These are some of the things I would have you be able to buy and purchase with these points. So, different match stipulations would be number one. So you don't have all the match stipulations straight away. So you're booking Superstars. You can't book a Hell in a Cell match on Superstars. So let's say, for example, Hell in a Cell match might cost 35,000 points to buy. And a Last Man Standing match, 15,000 points. So you don't have access to all these high-profile stipulations straight away. You have to unlock them. You have to earn them. And that would also create more of a challenge. So you can't just spam stipulations all the time. And it would cost a lot of money to use these stipulations anyways. So it probably isn't financially beneficial for you to use these stipulations all the time. Save it for big pay-per-views where you gain a lot more money and a lot more revenue from your pay-per-views buy rates. So another thing would be different pay-per-view choices. So if you don't want to have Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, you can change it to Vengeance. You can change it to Backlash. So you have a different variety of pay-per-views that you can use. So you can customize your GM, your brand, your show to the way you want it to be. So you have that universe mode aspect there as well, but it costs you. It's not free. I touched on the NXT talent before, so again, you know, you have a popularity bracket, X amount of points by certain popularity superstars. New attires for you superstars, so you'd have custom attires, you know, maybe, I know this is something that I personally wanted to see from the 2K games a long time, but monthly updates on attires, so when a new attire comes out, they add it into the game. So things like that can be added into GM mode, but you have to buy them with your points to unlock them. New entrances options as well, more team and stables, so you can only have X amount of teams in your show, but you can unlock more storylines, you can unlock different storylines, different arenas, so you can have old school, Raw, SmackDown, etc. New shows, so you can change main event to Heat or Velocity, for example. More money, and more different types of merchandise to make things easier. So this is kind of like my basic concept. I kind of thought of this the other day, and this is how I would personally do GM mode. I think this can work. When I think about it, I think more of an association mode, a GM mode on NBA. I kind of think about those modes and how I would take the best things from those modes and put it in a WWE GM mode and incorporate it into wrestling. I know there's no direct competition, but you can create competition from yourself, from TV networks. You have to reach deadlines. You have to, you know, achieve so many things or you're gone. You need to have that pressure. You need to have these goals and objectives to complete. You need to have these things that are causing you to have pressure on you. You can't just have nothing around you, no surrounding environments. There needs to be actively things happening. So there needs to be injuries occurring. There needs to be, oh, NFL's on this week, the football season's back, so that'll affect your ratings. You need, you know, this global catastrophe happened, so this affected the ratings. You know, Sami Zayn's not happy, he's not getting a push, so he doesn't want to work this week. He's not going to work until you guarantee him a push, and things like that. So you need to have these outside things occurring all the time to make sure more things are happening all the time, so things aren't getting stagnant. Lots of events and occurrences are happening constantly to keep the game exciting, to keep the game fresh. And yeah, so that's my idea for GM mode. Let me know what you guys think about this idea in the comment section down below. Is this something you'd like to see? What are some more suggestions? What more things can we add to this? Because I have not thought of everything here. This is just some basic things that I've thought of. So if you've got some more ideas, let's build on this. I don't know, I don't think anyone's really going to watch this or listen because I don't think this idea is realistic. But if I personally had control of 2K, this is something that I would definitely consider doing, because I think this game mode would really change WWE 2K games big time and for the better. So let me know what you guys think. Leave your suggestions in the comment section down below. Please leave a like on the video as well. Thanks guys for watching the video. See you next time.